Okay. Marker, signal lights, lenses and reflectors, amber in color, not damaged or missing, clean and working. Headlights and lenses, clear, not damaged or missing, clean and working. Under my truck, no loose wires or hoses, no fresh water or oil leaks. My truck is not leaning front to back or side to side. If it were, it would be low air pressure or bad suspension. Radiator reservoir. It's filter level, it's not damaged or leaking, and cap is secure. Radiator hoses, air hoses, all three power steering hoses, upper, lower, and pump. All are not damaged, cut, bubbled, or leaking, and secure with clamps and fittings. This is where I check my oil level. It's full to level. This is where I service by the quart. My air compressor is gear driven and governor. Both are not damaged or leaking and secured. All my air hoses, lines, and valves have no physical signs of damage and no audible signs of leaks, and they're secured. My power steering reservoir is full to level. My pump is gear driven. They are both not damaged or leaking and secured. My frame on both sides has no damage. There's no legal welds or holes. It's secured with no missing hardware. My shock absorber on both sides is not damaged or leaking. It's secured to the frame with no missing hardware. My steering column and U-joints are not damaged. They're secured, greased, and free of debris. My gearbox is not damaged or leaking. It's securely mounted to the frame with no missing hardware. From my steering box to the wheel, all connecting arms, rods, and links are not damaged, loose, or worn. Secure with no missing hardware. My cotter pins, all joints and sockets are not loose or worn. My spring mounts on both sides are not damaged and they are secured to the frame with no missing hardware. All my spring leaves on both sides have no damage, shifted, or missing leaves. They are secured with no missing hardware. My U-bolts and spacers on both sides have no damage and are secured to the axle with no missing hardware. My spring shackle on both sides has no damage and is secured with no missing hardware. My brake air hoses on both sides are not cut, bubbled, or leaking and are secured with fittings. All my brake drums and linings on both sides are clean and free of debris, oil, or grease that would affect braking. All of my front tires, I inspected the fronts, the backs, and the tops. There's no damage, no nails, no recasts, no bubbles, or cuts. No less than 30 seconds of tire tread. Check the tread depth gauge. They're mounted to my rim, inflated to manufacturer specification, and check the tire gauge. My front rims, inspected both sides of the rim. They're not bent, cracked, or damaged. There's no legal welds. All bolt holes are not elongated. They're secured with my lug nuts and studs. My lug nuts and studs have no rust trails or shiny threads or damage that would indicate looseness. All of my air valve stems are present and accessible. They're not damaged or leaking and secured with a cap. All of my hoses and wires are not cut, bubbled, damaged, or leaking. It's secured with clamps and fittings. My windshield washer fluid is full and the cap is secured. Before I move on, I will close and secure the hood and continue on the other side of the truck. Pretend I can't.
What about the belts?
Okay. My side marker and signal light and lenses on both sides are amber in color, not damaged or missing, clean and working. My hood mirror and supports and door mirror and supports on both sides are not damaged. They're secured with no missing hardware, clean and adjusted before my trip. All my batteries and cables are securely mounted, no excessive corrosion. The battery box is securely mounted to the frame with no missing hardware. Lid is in place and latched. This one is missing a lid, I'll tell my school. My storage compartment has 3 emergency triangles and extra fuses. My depth tank is not damaged or leaking, secured to the frame with no missing hardware, and cap is tight. My depth tank lines are not cut, bubbled, or leaking. It's secured with clamps or fittings. Both of my fuel tanks are not damaged or leaking. It's secured to the frame with no missing hardware. Cap is tight, filled to 95% with 5% for expansion. All my fuel lines from my tank to my filter are not cut, bubbled, or leaking. It's secured with fittings. My frame on both sides has no damage, there's no legal welds or holes, and it's secured with no missing hardware. I will now perform a coupling system. My air service lines are not cut, bubbled, damaged, or leaking. Red is for emergency and blue is for service. They're connected to my tractor with fittings, and to my trailer with glad hand connectors. The rubber seals are in good condition and free of debris. My electrical service line is not cut or damaged. It's securely connected to my tractor and trailer. All of my service lines are not loose or worn or rubbing against the catwalk. My trailer apron sits on my